Hey guys, I'm Dov, and today I'm back with more Total War Warhammer 2 online action. We're here on the outskirts of Altdorf with Volkmar the Grim up on his chariot looking very, very cool. And we are facing off against the foul Skaven hordes. Yes, indeed, Volkmar on the outskirts of Altdorf facing up against the Skaven. Doesn't get more thematic than this. Yes, indeed, the rat's out of the bag, the Skaven have revealed themselves, and so it's time for Volkmar to take his crusading force and smash the ratmen. So let's take a look at that crusading force. Of course, Volkmar on his chariot, he's got banishment, all the, accoutrements that he comes with, a Grand Soulfire, Grand Shield of Faith, Grand Hammer of Sigmar. He's also got the Jade Griffin for self-healing. Gives a miscast chance, and he also has Benediction for leadership support. We've got a front line of Flagellants with one Sigmar Sons here in the middle. They are backed up by a Warrior Priest who's gotten some really nice buffs in Mortal Empires. He's up to 50 armor. He's got still Grand Shield of Faith, which is a very, very good spell, especially to support a low armor unit like Flagellants. He's also got Soulfire, Benediction, which isn't really pertinent against the Unbreakable troops, but still good to have, and Banner of Eternal Flame. So basically this affects a 40-meter radius around him, and basically it gives all the units fire damage. So if we look here, these Flagellants have fire damage, these Flagellants have fire damage, and they're both also, the Sigmar Sons. Sigmar Sons are up to 31 weapon strength, Flagellants are up to 42 weapon strength, so very, very nice. To pair it all together, we've got a Bright Wizard here to support all this flaming damage. He's got a Flaming Sword of Ruin, Kindle Flame, and the Burning Head, as well as Cascading Fire Cloak in case I get into a dicey situation. Burning Head's very, very good at crowd control. Not crowd control per se, but, cutting through large swaths of infantry. And it also applies Burnt, -8 leadership, which is very good against low-tier Skaven units. We've got 4 units of Free Company Militia here, very good against low-armor targets and, large infantry. We've also got them backed up by Spearmen for some additional support. And we also do have 2 units of Knights of the Blazing Sun, one of the best looking units in the game, and these guys are back here with Mortal Empires ready to lance down some of these foul ratmen. We've got one here and one out on the other side. So for the Skaven build, my opponent's gone really heavy on the artillery here. He's got 3 Warp Lightning Cannons, which is a lot of killing power. They are going to be shielded by a whole bunch of clan rats with spears and shields, and Skaven slaves with spears. So this is going to prevent my cavalry from just charging him in the face, which is definitely a good thing. Empire Knights, Reichsguard, and so on could definitely do a lot of damage to Skaven infantry on the charge, so I understand. This is a bit of an odd pick in this match, though. The Hell Pit Abomination is somewhat vulnerable to missiles. It does have 50 armor and 15% missile resistance, but it is weak to fire. And, it's a pretty large target, so Rat Ogres I do like here to face up against cavalry. He's got one of them here. He's got a Doom Wheel over here, which is, again, a pretty good pick. Chariots aren't necessarily super intuitive to bring against the Empire, but typically I don't think you'll see Demis here, which are really going to be the biggest danger to a Doom Wheel from the Empire. So I do like this pick here. Chariots can be good against the Empire in certain situations. It's also got 3 Skaven Save Slingers. I really like these guys, as you know. For his Lord here, we've got just a Grey Seer with the Lore of Ruin. He's just on foot here. Let's take a look at his spells. So he's got Crack's Call, Scorch, Death Frenzy, Warp Lightning, and the Dreaded 13th. So interesting that he didn't bring Howling Warp Gale. I would definitely think you'd want that in this matchup, but very interesting. He's also got a Skaven Slave, not Skaven Slave, Skaven Assassin to back him up here, of course with trophy heads, and it looks like he doesn't have any of the other items or anything, so let's go ahead and kick things into full gear. Just going to be swinging out wide with these Knights of the Blazing Sun here. I could potentially charge him into the Hell Pit Abomination, since it does, it's weak to fire, but it has anti-large, armor-piercing, heavy weapon strength, so I don't really want to take that fight head-on. So we're just going to kind of swing wide around. Meanwhile, this other unit has baited away this Doom Wheel from the infantry engagement. We are going to engage the Doom Wheel, and while these guys will do quite a bit of damage, I mean, the Doom Wheel has a heavy armor piercing, it has the armor piercing missile attack, and causes terror, and will definitely beat these Knights of the Blazing Sun. They're going to do quite a bit of damage to it, but, you know, especially with the morale damage from the fire coming from these Skaven Slave Slingers, they'll definitely not win out in this engagement, unfortunately. But we did get the Flagellants charging into the front line here with the Warrior Priest. You can see he's kicking some of those Skaven in the face here. These Flagellants are, you know, macing them in the head and just trying to beat him down here. Same thing with these Sigmar Sons. You can see Volkmar riding over the hill here, going to be getting into some of these Skaven, getting a beautiful banishment on these Slingers over here. Although they are very low tier units, you know, just wanted to try and do some morale damage, see if I could rout him off with a bit of magic here. Volkmar is charging through the lines, causing some major terror issues. Of course, up on his chariot, he does cause fear and terror. So my opponent's trying really, really hard to get on him with these Warp Lightning Cannons, and he is doing quite a bit of damage here. I'm going to have to be careful. But, you know, Volkmar does have regeneration, and he can, you know, kite around quite a bit. So as long as I'm able to get on these Warp Lightning Cannons before they do too much damage, we'll be alright. The Knights of the Blazing Sun, unfortunately, getting beaten back over there by the combined, you know, Rat Ogres and Hell Pit Abomination. Over here, that other unit's Knights of the Blazing Sun was pushed off the battlefield by the Doom Wheel. We've got the Free Company Militia teeing off here, doing some really nice shooting over into those Skaven Slaves. We were going to get these other two units firing into this Hell Pit Abomination in just a moment here. But, yeah, Flagellants are a really good pick in this matchup. They'll stand and trade with pretty much all Skaven infantry except for, you know, Storm Vermin. And I'd be interested to test them out against Plague Monks and see how they do there. But just a general route going across most of the Skaven infantry here. This unit of Flagellants has broken through the lines and is going to be able to get back on these cannons, which is a huge, huge get for me. Looks like they're actually got a bit of a wrong pursuit order here. I thought these guys were going to get on there, but maybe not. We are going to get the Warrior Priest back there, and now you can see opening up shots with these Free Company Militia onto this Hell Pit Abomination here. Going to be dropping a Flaming Sword of Ruin from that the Bright Wizard. You can see a nice burning head going off, scorching some of these Skaven Slave Slingers. Just trying to get these guys off the battlefield at this point. They're very annoying more than anything, but they are able to do some damage for very cheap cost. You can see there the Flaming Sword of Ruin going down on those Free Company Militia, and it's going to increase the damage they do to this Hell Pit Abomination by quite a bit. And with the volume of fire that's coming down here, you can see him rapidly getting bursted down there. He's going to be done very, very soon. And in the mainline fight here, the Skaven Slaves and the Clan Rats have pretty much completely collapsed. We were able to get this one unit of Flagellants onto the cannons here. This other unit of Flagellants, I actually totally didn't even realize they ran almost all the way off the map here, but they are going to get caught and somewhat surrounded. Thankfully, they'll fight to the death, but Volkmar has taken quite a bit of damage from those Warp Lightning Cannons. Even still, they're trying to fire in on him, and he's very low. He is regenerating, but I've got to be careful. A few more hits, and he could potentially go down here. So we're going to try and get him in. He's a little bit stuck in between the unit models of the artillery now, which is unfortunate. But we're going to try and spring him loose with a beautiful burning head here, just roasting tons of those Skaven. And wow, man, that Bright Wizard, 65 kills with all those burning heads. So you can see the Grand Soulfire going down. Volkmar at this point is very, very low. I'm going to have to be very careful of these Rat Ogres, but we were able to bring down the Hell Pit Abomination with those Free Company Militia, and now they're just firing away. The Doom Wheel has been rampaging around the back line now that it's returned, and is going to be doing some really nice damage, but thankfully, you know, I've got Free Company kind of spread out all over the back line here, as well as all these Spearmen. They were inundated on the Doom Wheel for quite some time, did some damage to it, but it wasn't anything, you know, crazy, not enough to rout it off at least. But, you know, even though the Free Company don't have great armor-piercing damage, they have, let's see, 2 armor-piercing damage is not great, it's decent. But with the sheer volume of fire, they're going to be able to get some really nice work done. The Doom Wheel does cause terror, which is a bit of an issue for state troops. But with the Light Wizard here and supporting their morale, they should be able to stand in here and finish this thing off. So we're quite a ways ahead on the balance of power here. You can see this unit of Flagellants that got off near the edge of the map there. Not having too good of a time, but they are fighting to the death. They've managed to kill 80 Skaven, so good on them. We've cleaned up all the Warp Lightning Cannons at this point, so we've just got to finish cleaning up the rest of the Skaven infantry here, and we'll be all good to go. So Very fun battle, very cool thematics, and you know, I definitely like Volkmar against the Skaven. They generally struggle with chariots. My opponent didn't bring any poison wind globadiers, which could potentially be a danger, but thankfully, you know, Volkmar could pull away. You know, as long as he's not completely inundated, he'll be able to pull away and, you know, regenerate and then come back. So I definitely like him in this matchup. The Warrior Priest with the Flagellants, that weapon strength buff is actually really nice. 42 weapon strength can carve through most Skaven infantry just fine. Free Company are also very good here. As you can saw, they dealt easily with that Hell Pit Abomination. Doing some nice work against the Doom Wheel despite not having great armor piercing. But just because they're so cheap, they're decent melee, and they can do quite a bit of damage at short range with their pistols. We really like them in this matchup, and quite a bit of other matchups, to be honest. This kind of Free Company Spearman Flagellant front line is honestly what I bring in a lot of matchups, just because it's very durable, very atrocious, and if you have specialty units to then deal the damage, like Volkmar, for example, you can get away with using that, you know, kind of lower tier, quote-unquote, front line. So, very well played to my opponent. Hope you guys enjoyed watching that. Volkmar racking up 130 kills, rampaging around on his chariot, and getting those really nice banishments. 65 kills on the Bright Wizard from those burning heads is great. The Warrior Priest managed to rack up 61 kills in melee, which is excellent. The Flagellants, man, 125 on those Sigmar Sons, 127 on these Flagellants, 142. Man, they just really got in and messed up those Skaven slaves and the clan rats. Absolutely brutal. The Free Company doing a very nice job fending off that Hell Pit Abomination, considering all 4 of these guys put together cost less than that Hell Pit Abomination, and 2 of them were able to take him down, you know, within a matter of about 30 seconds to a minute. It's a very, very good trade for me. The Bright Wizard definitely helped in that respect. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to use these Knights of the Blazing Sun really effectively, but they were able to lead that Doom Wheel off for a while, which was kind of nice. And one of them did some really nice work in an initial charge against the Rat Ogres, but then kind of just got beaten down. Thankfully, the Infantry Corps, along with Volkmar, was able to carry the day. The terror from Volkmar being very strong there, and of course, you know, those Flagellants, with the help of the Warrior Priest, man, they carved it up. From my opponent, you know, I definitely understand going wide against the Empire. I don't know that I would go this wide, per se. You could probably stand to cut this Hell Pit Abomination and bring some better infantry, like Plague Monks, for example, maybe bring a couple Death Runners. If you brought Death Runners, they'll help the, you know, Clan Rats and other lower tier infantry trade a lot better because of the Weeping Blade. Of course, that's not really pertinent against Flagellants, but if I had brought Great Swords or, you know, against Heavy Cavalry or Lord, they can be very useful there. Plague Monks I do definitely think will be good here. You do have to kind of keep them protected from missile fire, which is a bit tough. But yeah, I'm interested to play this matchup some more. I really like this build for the Empire, so if you guys use it, let me know what you think. Let me know what kind of success you have with it. I definitely enjoyed playing these battles. I'm having a ton of fun with Mortal Empires, guys, so I'm keeping it coming with more Mortal Empires content every single day. So if that's what you want to see, stay tuned for more, and we'll see you next time.